Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. Welcome to Policy and Rights, the show about government policy and human rights. Welcome back to Policy and Rights here on Depictions Media Radio. I am your host, Michael Clogs. There are things that can happen in a community or in a society that go horribly wrong. It could be a natural disaster. It could be a civil unrest that disables or collapses a government. There are things that just leave especially the vulnerable at risk, at such grave risk that there is a need for a outside police system to come in from an international level to support the needs of people. To support these needs, and that is to keep those who might, under such duress, would become the quote-unquote bad guy, simply because they're trying to survive. There is no true malicious intent, but survival becomes paramount. And we've seen some of these things in countries like Mali, and we've seen some of this sort of things also in areas like Syria, and there's just other areas around the world where civil unrest has become so bad that there is a need for a outside police force. Well, in some cases, who steps in is the United Nations Police. And they had a recent summit of all of the police chiefs who are in action around the world. And they also did a press conference at the New York City United Nations complex. So, we're going to hear some of what they actually had to say about policing around the world and what their mission, their mandates are, and how it may vary from country to country. So, we're going to listen to that. And they're speaking to journalists about what it is that they actually do. The director of the United Nations Police, Luís Carrilho, and member states particularly interested in hearing about during this press conference will be to women peace and security agendas, including work to protect civilians, advance political solutions, strengthen strategic and operational integrations, and increase accountability of the peacekeepers, amongst other things. The police commissioner of the UN Multidimensional Integration Stabilization Mission in Mali, told journalists that her forces will support the Mali security forces for a security of an election that was scheduled to be held the 27 February 2022, but should now happen in February of 2024. They also working to support protection of civilian and important support always of authorities, deployment of security forces into areas to participate in restoration of the state authorities, and they help to transfer the power to the up and coming government after they will be elected. So let's listen to how they answer the questions for the media that are present in the United Nations.
Okay, thank you, everyone. As you know, the UN Chiefs Police Summit is happening, and to talk about it, we have with us today the UN Police Advisor, Luís Carrillo, as well as the Police Commissioner for the Peacekeeping Operations in Mali, Ms. Bettina Patricia Boughani, and the Police Commissioner for the UN Interim Security Force for Abyei, Ms. Violet Nasambu Lusala. They will have introductory remarks, and then we'll have some time for Q&A. Ms. Carrillo, please. Yeah,
thank you very much, Florence. Good morning to all of you. We are very pleased to be here today. Of course, myself, Police Advisor, our MINUSMA Police Commissioner, and our Police Commissioner in UNISFA, as Florence just announced. Yesterday and today, we have been convening the third United Nations Chiefs of Police Summit. So wise, thank you very much for the small detail, but that makes all the difference. So yesterday and today, we have been convening the third United Nations Chiefs of Police, which includes the participation of more than 110 member states, including more than 20 ministers or deputy ministers. The summit highlights include sessions on how the United Nations Police help address the key challenges facing the United Nations peacekeeping through Action for Peacekeeping and A4P+, foster sustainable peace and development, including by advancing the Sustainable Development Goals and the Secretary-General's Our Common Agenda, and bridge key gaps in the United Nations police performance. The Member States have been particularly interested in hearing about the United Nations police contributions to women, peace and security agenda and A4P+, including our work to protect civilians, advance political solutions, strengthen strategic and operational integration, and increase accountability of and to peacekeepers, amongst others. Side events yesterday considered the current and future role of United Nations Police amid the department's ongoing digital transformation, including through an increased focus on training, an increased focus on new technologies and artificial intelligence, to remain agile and adaptable in the face of an increasingly complex landscape comprising both traditional and non-traditional security threats such as pandemics, criminal groups, the use of technology by the criminal groups, climate change, and growing socio-economic inequality. Realizing the vision of the Secretary-General for the United Nations Police as a United Nations system-wide service provider of policing expertise, the discussions during this event are helping us to further articulate the work of the Interagency Task Force on Policing, which is co-chaired by the Department of Peace Operations and the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, to provide strategic level coordination on the provision of policing and law enforcement assistance among relevant UN entities. We had also, yesterday, the big honor to award the 2022 United Nations Woman Police Officer of the Year to Chief Warrant Officer Alizeta Kabore Kinda, a gender focal point in our mission in Mali, whose commitment to women's empowerment and the promotion and protection of civilians, and also the promotion and protections of the right of women and children in Mali, is for all of us an inspiration. Women currently in the United Nations Police lead 6 major United Nations missions, and their participation during this event bring importance to the perspectives to all areas of our work, not least more impactful gender responsive policing. Building on the most recent peacekeeping ministerial in Seoul last December, the United Nations Chiefs of Police Summit, UN COPS, is a continuation of high-level summits organized by the Department of Peace Operations to seek greater member state engagement to modernize our peace operations, improve performance and capabilities of uniformed police personnel, and reinforce the foundation of future peacekeeping efforts. The summit is therefore an opportunity for member states to come together to voice their political support for peacekeeping and to announce pledges to close police capability gaps. For the United Nations Police, we welcome member state support, for example, to facilitate training courses, capacity building, deploy teams of police experts to missions in need of specialized team, to provide technological enablers to increase our safety, or support the operations and camps with renewable energy or rationalized energy consumption practices. Overall, we thank our police contributing countries, more than 90 worldwide, for the support that they give, for the work that we do in the field in terms of operational support and capacity building, directly to the communities in terms of protection of civilians and in terms of capacity building and operational support to the host state security forces. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
So, thank you very much. I am Major General Boughani and head of the police component of MINUSMA since the 4th of January 2021. The mandate of MINUSMA was renewed until June 13, 2023. The new resolution maintains the two strategic priorities: the assistance for the implementation of the peace agreement and the political transition, and the second priority to support the strategy of stabilization in the center of Mali and protection of civilians. The task remain essentially the same, and the UNPOL ceiling is 1,920 police officers. The key priorities for UNPOL to answer the two strategic priorities, UNPOL will support the Malian security forces for the security of the election. Protection of civilians is also important in support always of the Malian authorities. The redeployment of the Malian security forces in the center and the north, and we participate also of the restoration of the state authorities. Our main tools are capacity building, advisory support, solo and joint patrols, and building and rehabilitation of Malian infrastructures. Some recent UNPOL achievements. So I have selected some areas in the fight, in the area of fight against impunity. We UNPOL handed over to the Malian judicial authorities evidence from terrorists who attacked last year the UN camps of Aguelok in April 2021. These evidence are important and it provide to assist the investigation. Another point is protection of civilians. We have on July deployed a specialized police team in community-orienting policing. So now we are working closely with the Malian authorities and in close link also with their strategy of security sector reform. And we realize also solo and joint patrol with the Malian security forces, and we try to be there when they are fair, because it's very important, so we can also interact with the population. And the last point, it's an example for capacity building of the Malian security forces. We trained also the Malian, and we have an example with the mobile security group, le Groupe Mobile de Sécurité from the Police Nationale. And our target is to train 30,000 police officers, because we want to anticipate the election. Thank you very much.
Protocol observed. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for this opportunity. Once again, my name is Violet Nasambulusala, Police Commissioner, UNISFA. Our main mandate in UNISFA is currently the protection of civilians through maintenance of law and order. And in the absence of a BA police service, we are building our own capacity and the capacity of community protection committees and joint protection committees within the box, who are our main key rule of law agent. Our key priority areas within ABA is to protect civilians through gender-responsive community interactive patrols, awareness campaigns on prevention and protection of women and girls. Then we have also protection of women from sexual and gender-based violence, mentoring and advising on the rights of the host communities. Then we have also training, capacity building, and community-oriented policing. We are also engaging the local community in peaceful coexistence, especially between the two communities, that is Mithirias and Ngok Dingas. We are also mentoring and advising the CPCs, that is Community Protection Committees, and Joint Protection Committees. Through the engagement of local community and traditional leaders, especially in the northern sector of BA area, we have been trying to enhance protection of civilians since the year 2015 with the absence of APS. That's the time that UN Security Council authorized the mandate to establish CPC. However, I'm proud to inform you that last month, but on 30th of June, we managed to establish community protection committees in collaboration with the local community and traditional leaders, about 377, comprised of 20 CPC stations. Out of 377, we have 64 women for the first time in the history of UNISFA. Also, in the protection pillar of women, peace and security, AMPO has established for the first time gender pilot desk in ABA, which is handling the issue of women and children. Basically, that is now our main referral pathway when it comes to coordinating with other stakeholders to address issues of women and children within the box. AMPO has also embraced the concept of reforming justice correction services by renovating detention facilities. We have 3 detention facilities in Akok, Amet, and BA. The conditions initially were really bad, but for the sake of meeting the international human rights standards, we have tried to improve on the conditions by renovating the same, and the conditions right now are okay. AMPO, in collaboration with IOM, have also developed a strategy in reviewing customary law, which is sometimes very harsh when it comes to women and children. And as a result of this, we have appointed 11 women who are now sitting as the adjudicators of the traditional court, and this has resulted into women full participation in the dispensation of justice. In collaboration with the mission leadership with Sudan and South Sudan, as you are all aware, my mission falls under the two government. We are trying to stress on the need to establish the ABA police service and issue visas to increase the number of UMPO. Currently, I'm operating with the strength of 50 IPOs. Ideally, as per the UN Security Council mandate, I'm supposed to have 148 IPOs and 3 FPUs. Internally, MINUSMA has made significant strides in regarding gender parity, responsiveness in the police component, and I'm proud to inform you that in professional cadre, I have 75% of women, and then in IPOs, I have 36.7% IPO category. Then, despite that, I also have challenges in implementing AMPO mandate, whereby, as I've mentioned, limited resources, human capital, due to reluctance of the host government to issue visas and authorize the deployment of IPOs. However, we have continued to engage the two governments, and I'm optimistic they're going to flex on the two issues of visas and establishment of a ABA police service. Finally, from what I've just mentioned, we also have the challenge of climate change. Like currently, we have a very heavy downpour, which has limited also the mobility of UMPU operations. But however, sometimes I don't treat such a challenges as a challenge. It normally creates an opportunity for me to look for an amicable solution, to collaborate with other stakeholders. So currently what we are doing, we are just collaborating with the CPC focal person on the ground to get to know what is happening within the community. At the same time, we are also collaborating with the traditional leaders, of which we have established good relationship with them, and also our key partners who are the military on the ground. Some of the lessons learned that I've learned to amicably implement my mandate is a holistic, integrated approach in sharing of information with all the stakeholders across the board, including the military and the host community, and also capacity building, which has really capacitated the CPCs and Joint Protection Committees, who doesn't have any background of policing, unlike police officers who are trained. That is all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to the three of you for that very informative briefing. We will now go to Q&A. Yes, Edie, please.
Thank you very much on behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association for doing this briefing. My name is Edith Lederer from the Associated Press. I have a question for each of you. Mali is considered the most dangerous peacekeeping mission that the United Nations has. As the police component, how difficult is it for you to operate, particularly in areas where there is no peace to keep, as we all know and read about and see? And in Abyei, it appears that, your mission has succeeded in some ways in bringing both the South Sudanese and the Sudanese together. Do you think that what you're doing could perhaps help spur a solution to the Abyei issue? And, Mr. Commissioner, resource-wise, do you have the resources that you need? Do you need more? Could police play an even more important role in peacekeeping missions? Thank you.
Great. Who wants to start?
Thank you. Thank you very much. You say dangerous. I prefer complex. It's a complex mission. What is really important, we are an integrated mission, and we have. I spoke about protection of civilian. We have several missions. It's really an integrated mission, so it's not UNPOL. It's always for protection of civilian. For example, it's we work closely and develop strategy. UNPOL, the force, and the civilian component. So integration is really important. The second point, the peace agreement, you said where there are no peace, or the peace agreement now moves forward. So there was the high level decision committee or something like between the 1st and the 5th August. Then it was decided to have a commission, une commission ad hoc, and le comité de suivi de l'accord will take place tomorrow. We are the 2nd of September. Yes, and so it seems that démobilisation, DDR, DDR, démobilisation, désarmament, demobilization, and mitigation will now start. Of course, mitigation of the risk is really important, and now I will speak more about UNPOL. As I said, it's an integrated mission, and for example, for FPUs, they receive all training in search and detect from UNMAS. All my police officers receive training on to be aware of IED. There is pre-deployment training, induction training, and in-mission training. And we have also updated some important documents. And I think of the SUR, the Statement of Unit Requirement, and that's really important because it's an operational document which then allowed us to discuss with the PCC, the police contributing countries, to change some equipment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. To respond to your question, I just want to inform you that currently the relationship between the two countries has really enhanced. And there is information sharing. They're now coming together, discussing issues together. Another issue is about the new multinational troops that have just been deployed in the mission. As you are aware, for the last 11 years, we have been having one single TCC. So with the diverse policing and culture of the new multinational TCC is changing the mindset of the host community, including the local authorities in Khartoum and Sudan. And that's why we have managed to even establish a CPC, Community Protection Committees, in the northern part. So to me, I can say generally we are heading towards the right direction. And again, the issue of dialogue between the two communities has really enhanced a peaceful coexistence. A point and example is a peace conference that we had recently in Entebbe, which was really, very successful. And we have started now cascading the same on the ground from the grassroots level by embracing bottom-up approach to approach the same peaceful coexistence. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the words and, of course, for the question. The United Nations Police and the police as a whole, we believe that will play more and more and more an enhanced and bigger role in the peacekeeping. As we could see, the nature of the conflicts from interstate are now much more from interstate, much more interstate. So when it is within the borders, usually the police, for the security of the people, play a key role. And of course, being apolitical, because we police officers, we are rigorously apolitical, but I believe that for the United Nations, the police is one of the best political tools to achieve the mission mandates that are given by the Security Council, or to assist member states in key areas of development, like security of elections, like addressing pandemic challenges, like human rights challenges. Now, I don't know a single commander that, facing the question that you ask, are you happy with the resources that you have, that you say, we are very happy with all the resources. Let me answer in a different way. The more resources that we will have at the different levels, more and better and more skilled police officers, more individual police officers, more formed police units to address public order, more specialized police teams, more use of technology, bigger mandates for the United Nations Police, we will be able to deliver a better service to the communities, we will be able to support better the host state police, bearing in mind also one thing. The role of the United Nations Police is always in a transition perspective. We are not there to be forever. We are there for a certain period to support, to help the security of the population, and to, of course, in an institution building capacity when the Security Council gives us that mandate to do it. We can play a bigger role in peace and security, in the humanitarian space, and also in terms of the development area. I'm not going now in terms of course, the Sustainable Development Goals, the 2030 Agenda, but your question also gives me the opportunity. This meeting that we are having here with all the heads of the police component from the entire world, it's a major forum exactly to promote more peace, exactly to promote a better world in terms of the different challenges that the world faces today. Thank you.
Yes, James.
James Bays, Al Jazeera. If I can follow up with the police commissioner from Mali, because we're doing a lot of stories about Mali lately, so I'd like to sort of get a little bit more details on what you described, the complex situation. Just give us a snapshot. What is life like for your officers in Mali right now? You said you yourself have been there, I think, since January 2021. So, I mean, what's your view? Are things getting worse?
For UNPOL, we are in Bamako, and we are also in the region. In the region where we are, when you speak live, they live in super camps. That's important to know it. When they go on patrol, we have a look on the equipment, and they are, when my IPOs go on patrol, they are escorted by FPUs. In our areas, we take always the recommendation of UNDSS. Even its recommendation, we follow the recommendation of UNDSS. Concerning in Bamako, the mission are different for IPOs. We don't do patrols. We are doing we do capacity building. And for the Malian security forces, and we work with them to build our project, because we don't impose training. It's important to co-build, co-construire the project. As I said, yes, it's complex, but we have also, it's an integrated mission. So, for example, I said protection of civilian force is also on this area. I said a civilian component. Inside the civilian component, there is POC, protection of civilian section. They realize also a threat assessment every 2 months. And when we plan our patrols in the region, there is also, as I said, it's integrated, and we have a regional joint operational center, and it goes through the air jogs, this regional joint operational center, and we know also where are the other patrols of force, and force know it also for UNPOL.
Stefano?
Thank you very much, Stefano Vaccana, La Voce di New York. A question that any of you, or all three of you, could answer is about the sexual exploitation and abuse that women and children had by, at least this has been in the past, peacekeepers. So there's been peacekeeper mission soldiers accused of that. And I would like to know, what is your role in this case? Do you investigate? Can you arrest any peacekeeper that you think acted like that? What is your role during this process?
Thank you very much for your question. Of course, when it comes to sexual exploitation and abuse, is zero tolerance for police, military, and civilian. Unfortunately, as we know, there are some cases that cannot be prevented, and when they happen, they have to be addressed. The different categories of personnel have different juridic treatment. So, internally, when we are talking about police officers, when we are talking about military, or we are talking about civilian, and in the police we also have civilian, the type of treatment is different, and I will be happy, or maybe our colleagues from the Conduct and Discipline section to address it. But one thing is for sure, there is no allegation that should not be duly investigated with all the rights of defense also guaranteed, but to assure also and principally the rights of the victims. And on that, in terms of leadership, we are very, very strict. But our main priority is the community where we are. So, and when we have the responsibility in terms of executive authority, and there are some missions, there were a mission where I was commissioner, where I was the commissioner also of the host state police. On that, then, according to the legal framework, criminal investigation, under the prosecutor or not, according to the juridic system, to make sure that we make the proper criminal investigation process to make sure that justice is made. So the two areas are important. One third key area, it's very relevant. In one of the missions, we had a sexual gender-based violence team that trained the host state police, at the same time with some extra budgetary funding, help to build victim-friendly office in the national police different departments, and in a third phase even helped not only with the administration, the local administration, but also with the judicial system. So, in a nutshell, the United Nations Police, or every police officer, first should be a human rights officer, and is a human rights officer. Second, it doesn't mean that there is zero cases, but when they happen, either in the United Nations, either outside, they should be properly and duly investigated, because we are police officers and no one is above the law, and we police officers, we are the ones that should make sure that that is fully respected. So thank you for your question.
Yes, no, just a quick follow-up, just because, for example, when happened, Gabonese soldiers were accused of sexual exploitation. That was kind of recent. At least for what I read, that the matter was taken care of within the army. They were actually redeployed. They left the country. And so my specific question is, when you know that the crime has been committed by peacekeepers, can you, and if you actually have a situation where you can actually arrest the person because it happened, I don't know, maybe you can see in fragrance, I don't know. Can you do that, or there is something that you cannot, you cannot intervene in this situation?
Every case is a case, and I cannot discuss the detail of the case because I don't have all the information. Military contingents have a particular legal and juridic framework different from the United Nations Police and different from the civilian. And every case, exactly on that capacity, I don't want to go further, but there are the national investigation officers that should be called to investigate, of course, the allegations, and then the case should be followed properly. The national authorities of the countries, according again also to the national regulatory framework, should or can take the necessary measures. But every case and the case and should be seen with this. Generally, I can tell you that are different treatment, juridically speaking. And when I'm saying that no one is above the law, your question makes sense. So, if there is a crime, we should immediately go and investigate. But we need to understand that there are the different agreements signed between the different entities that are present. One thing is sure. All the allegations should be duly investigated, victims should be protected, and the perpetrators, if found responsible, should be held accountable.
Are you personally, as a police officer, are you satisfied with the system how he is today? Or you think there should be change, something should be changed?
Police officers are personnel that should implement the law. My opinion, personal, as relevant as it could be, it's irrelevant either at my national service and also in the United Nations, because the proper legislative and regulatory bodies of the United Nations took their different rules and regulations, and they should be implemented. I can tell you that, once again, the system that exists allows and foments that all the allegations should be fully investigated, and the system allows for the allegations to be investigated. As a police officer, once again, and that, as you can understand, because it's also our credibility, and when we are in a mission, according to the different authority that we have, we not only we do in terms of capacity building with the host states service, the proper training in terms of the investigating, in terms of community policing, the prevention, working with the communities, in terms of institution building, we help, but more than that, for us as a police officer, our main goal is always to make sure that the most vulnerable are protected. Children, the elderly, victims of crimes, internally displaced people, the refugees, and on that I can assure you that I am very happy with the motivation, le dévouement that our police personnel that are serving in the field has.
Thank you very much for that. And one more question. Can you turn your...
Portuguese News Agency. My question is for Commissioner Carrilho. If you allow me to make the question in Portuguese.
Here I don't have any authority, so it's...
Can I make the question in
I
Portuguese?
mean, if you could do it in English, that'd be great. And then perhaps you can give a snippet in Portuguese in the end. So
because the question is about Portugal. Who were the Portugal's representatives at the UN COPs, and what were the main recommendations that came out of here for police officers around the world?
I will answer first in English. Thank you very much, Marta, not only for your presence here, but for the question, and happy to see a compatriot here also in the briefing. Concerning in the United Nations Chiefs of Police Summit, we have the distinguished head of the Guarda Nacional Republicana, and we have also the National Director of Polícia de Segurança Pública. And the discussions are going on. We have 3 panels. Of course, our goal, as I had the chance to say in my introductory remarks, it is, and if I can abbreviate the 3 in one, how can we provide a better service to the communities that we are, and then building backwards and working in partnership to make sure that we have the tools, the personnel, the commitment, the pledges, to make sure that at the end of the day the communities live in a safer way, and that we as police personnel do our part. Muito obrigado, Marta, pela presença. É para mim, claro, uma grande honra ter aqui uma compatriota, e muito obrigado pelo interesse. A participação de Portugal, que muito nos honra, é feita por intermédio do Comandante-Geral da Guarda Nacional Republicana, o Sr. General Rui Clero, e pelo Sr. Diretor Nacional da Polícia de Segurança Pública, o Sr. Superintendente-Chefe Manuel Magina da Silva. O objetivo desta reunião é alertar, do ponto de vista político, uma atenção maior na polícia, mas as discussões estão a prosseguir, os diferentes painéis, e se eu posso abreviar, o nosso objetivo é como é que podemos servir melhor as comunidades onde estamos integrados. E dessa forma, ter mais recursos, ter melhores recursos. Nós recrutamos dos países contribuintes de polícia e estamos muito contentes, falando diretamente para Portugal, com a contribuição de Portugal, que, como é natural, queremos, seguindo aqui a pergunta, queremos mais polícias, queremos sempre mais apoio, mas os polícias portugueses são sempre muito apreciados pelas missões onde servem e pelas comunidades que servem. There was only one thing that I didn't say it in English, but I will take the opportunity, of course. It is to say that also following your question, and in the case of Portugal, that we are always looking for more also from Portugal, and also to say that, of course, we are very happy with the Portuguese police officers. I know that is a little bit weird to speak in myself, cause, but we are very happy, or let me say, in the missions where they serve, that the missions are very happy with the Portuguese police officers that are serving. So it's my great honor also to pass that message to you. Muito obrigado. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And on that note, we will conclude the briefing. Thank you very much for
This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.